in Michigan. That case ended up an absolute debacle where the 4 people who went to trial, 2 of them were acquitted, 2 received mistrials. None of them were convicted on even a single charge, and the basis of the defense was entrapment, that the FBI, that paid enforcements for the FBI, had suggested and had incited the conduct. Let me ask you, how many FBI agents were disciplined or reprimanded after that disastrous case and the misconduct that led to every defendant being acquitted or having a mistrial on every charge?
Senator, I can't comment on a personnel matter. I can tell you that that case, as I understand it, is now pending a retrial, as I understand it.
Well, the special agent in charge of that case has now been sent to D.C., to the Washington, D.C. office, and now leads the investigation regarding January 6th. Is that correct?
That doesn't sound right to me.
That does not sound right. The name of the individual is Stephen D'Antuono. It was run out of the FBI Detroit field office. And by the way, I will point out that the lead investigator, Special Agent Track, are you aware that he was apparently fired for allegedly beating his wife after coming home from a swingers party, and he'd made multiple derogatory political posts about President Trump showing political bias? Are you aware of that?
I am aware of, I think, the incident you're describing and action that was taken about it. To clarify on the first part of your question, Mr. D'Antuono was the special agent in charge of the office, the Detroit field office, and is now the assistant director in charge of the Washington field office. I thought you were asking about the agent who was responsible for the...
So the guy in charge got promoted and is now in charge of the January 6th investigation.
The guy in charge of the whole Detroit field office is now in charge of the whole Washington fild office.
That is astonishing.
Does the FBI have confidential human sources? Did the FBI have confidential human sources embedded within the January 6th protesters on January 6th of 2021?
Well, Congressman, as I'm sure you can appreciate, I have to be very careful about what I can say about when
Even now, because that's what you told us 2 years
finish?
ago.
May I finish? About when we do and do not, and where we have and have not used confidential human sources. But to the extent that there's a suggestion, for example, that the FBI's confidential human sources or FBI employees in some way instigated or orchestrated January 6th, that's categorically false.
Did you have confidential human sources dressed as Trump supporters inside the Capitol on January the 6th prior to the doors being open?
Again, I had to be very careful.
It should be a no. Can you not tell the American people, no, we did not have confidential human sources dressed as Trump supporters positioned inside the Capitol?
Gentleman's
on January
time has
6th?
expired.
You should not read anything into my decision not to share information
Director Wray,
on confidential human
gentleman's
sources.
time has expired.
What's up, guys? It's your boy, Benny. Last week, we were on the U.S. Capitol grounds filming a documentary, our own interesting documentary on the unsolved mysteries of January 6th, and we will be producing and releasing that presently. However, we were speaking with some of our favorite members of Congress who shall remain unnamed here in the privacy of their own offices, and I asked a specific question. Were there confidential human informants inside of the Capitol on January 6th? Because the existence of confidential human informants inside of the Capitol or instigating or agitating at the Capitol on January 6th would mean the confirmation of the Fed-surrection. What is the Fed-surrection? The Fed-surrection is that the federal government had a hand in orchestrating the events of January 6th. Now, it just seems to stand to reason that Occam's razor says this would be the most logical conclusion for some very strange, unexplained mysteries. Like, for instance, why was Jacob Chansley, buffalo horn guy, escorted to the United States Senate and allowed to be on the floor of the United States Senate unless they were trying to make him a prop, unless they were trying to set things up? These very strange events continue to occur around January 6th. For instance, the ubiquitous nature of Ray Epps, as he is caught on camera time and time again, calling for people to go into the Capitol. One of the very few individuals who actually called to have people go into the Capitol. Revolver News has a fascinating story here on how Ray Epps was removed from the FBI's most wanted list. And then they go on to detail various other individuals For instance, the breach team. Why did this breach team, that was the initial team to cut the wires and to walk into the U.S. Capitol, why did this team start doing that before Donald Trump had even remotely finished speaking? That doesn't make any sense. Donald Trump hadn't even finished speaking 20 minutes before Trump was done talking. That breach team was already rushing the Capitol. Makes no sense. Why are they so organized? Why are they sitting here like in an organized fashion cutting down the fencing and the wire? I mean, it really is wild stuff, and they go through and they really catalog like what was happening here and what these people look like. It leaves a lot of questions. This guy's called the scaffolding commander. So who is this guy? Why hasn't this guy been arrested? This is crazy. This guy was right up there. He got up on the scaffolding. He had a bullhorn, and then he started shouting orders at people and commanding them like it was a military operation. Again, ladies and gentlemen, the fact that you could watch those clips and not have questions about the federal government being involved in January 6th, it's really not possible. We need answers to those questions. And the only way we're ever going to get them is if we get a administrator, a chief executive, elected president who could declassify this stuff. And the president, of course, has plenary power to declassify anything and to give this information to the public. Confidential human sources behaving criminally inside of the crowd at January 6th blows the entire narrative out of the water. That's called entrapment. And that's what the people want to know. There are so many mysteries about that day, and they aren't made more clear by the security footage that Tucker Carlson and his team went through. Now, they found that Ray Epps himself lied in the recent publishings of the security footage, that Ray Epps lied about his location and what he was doing that day. The evidence for that is demonstrable. Tucker has it on video. So what other lies are being told? Who was working for who? And more importantly, and this is the final question and the only question, did the federal government have a hand in what actually happened that day? We know there were security failures, obviously, a whole setup by Nancy Pelosi. But what was the federal government doing, and why didn't they step in to stop it? The answer to that question is everything. It's your boy Benny, fighting for a better America. See ya. Thank you for watching. Our channel is here to meme the libs until they cry, and then to meme them crying. Their tears, they taste just like sweet, delicious ice cream. Salty, too. We ridicule the establishment and the libs because of you. Your support keeps us going. So if you like what you saw, please punch the subscribe button, click like, and ring the little bell so that you know when we're live. Don't you want to know when we're live? And make sure that you subscribe to our email list just in case the plug gets pulled, as tends to happen. If you want to see more of our videos, click here or here. My name is Benny Johnson. Stay free, Base Patriots.